Hey, Sunday or Saturday, it's always Saturday, is the best time for brunch. And you have to have bagels, lox, and cream cheese. You're having brunch and some great coffee. So my friend and I meet at this really cool place in Arlington. Talk about location, location, location. Place is situated right on the interaction of a bike path with the center of Arlington. It's got an outdoor thing, indoor, and it's called Kickstand Cafe. Great title. Anyway, I've been there a lot. We meet up. Very soon, we start talking about daughters. Each of us had a daughter, and each of us has struggled with our daughters. And the struggles come down to, well, there's so many different angles I can talk about, but one of them has to do with a radical change in the notion of parenting. In my opinion, in the past, we expected kids, our parents expected kids to rise to a certain level, to satisfy them, to meet their expectations. And maybe it was too much one way in that. Maybe the expectations were too high. Maybe there wasn't enough mutuality or mutual listening. But now, like everything in America, it swings the other way. Now parents are expected to always satisfy their kids. And if their kids aren't satisfied, the kids have the right to exercise power over the parent. And the parent really is like stymied. Parents can't really fight back because if they do, they're stigmatized by the general society. So people who are younger than me and my friend, they've gotten used to it. And they would be judgmental. They would be judgmental if you give real feedback to your daughter or son, but especially with daughters. Judgmental would be, you're not a good parent. Your kid is not happy. Listen to your kid. Listen to what they're saying. Are you really listening? Do you know how to listen? Well, yeah, you know how to listen, but you also need to know how to instruct, to teach, to train, to give feedback, to teach about clear values. And values, having a moral compass, that is the most important thing in the world, to have a moral compass. And you can only get that if somebody is teaching you that at a young age consistently. Now, it doesn't mean that you're a constant role model. It doesn't mean that you can do no wrong. And it doesn't mean that you're arrogant about it. You're not. You're just wanting your daughter to recognize that you're human and that they can't turn the tide and take the power and use that power to oppress, to abuse, to manipulate. We don't want that. None of us want that. And some of us are able, are willing, or try to stand up to it. Now, here's the thing. Here we're going to get to even a deeper thing. And here I'm going to open up the name of a character that you're going to hear a lot about soon in some upcoming stories. And the character's name is Uncle Sal, quote, or colon, the Italian uncle. Again, Uncle Sal, the Italian uncle. He's a fictional character that I made up. And his main point is this: he will intervene as a friendly uncle, as a friendly neighbor, as a friendly community member. He will intervene on behalf of parents dealing kids where the kids are being outrageous and unrealistic and unacceptable, inexcusable. But he's not intervening in order to take sides, really. His only side is love and reconciliation. His only side is a win-win. It's not about piling on. It's not about advocating for you. It's about advocating for peace and for understanding. But he doesn't do it in a lecture. He doesn't do it in a pedantic way. He does it with humor. Uncle Sal has natural, gifted, whimsical humor. And he's a guy who's got credibility because he's got years, he's got age, he's got wisdom. And Uncle Sal is what we all need. But where is Uncle Sal to be found? Where is Uncle Sal to be found? And we don't know because we don't have those kinds of neighborhoods anymore where they used to have Uncle Sal might be a neighbor. Uncle Sal might not be your uncle, your brother. He might be your next door neighbor. And your next door neighbor is watching out for your kid and you're watching out for theirs. And your next door neighbor sees that your daughter or your son is becoming outrageously negative and oppositional and hypocritical and manipulative and all kinds of negative characteristics. And they would have a good enough relationship that they could say something to your daughter. They could say something that was gentle and humorous and caring, and it might have an impact. But, but in the world we're living in the broken up, fragmented communities, the loneliness and isolation that we've been talking about, there is not an Uncle Sal to be found. Generally, there's no Uncle Sal to be found. So those of us without an Uncle Sal, without a support system, and with a difficult teenage daughter or daughter who's already made it through their teen years and is still not cooperating or are hard to communicate with, that you're always on walking on eggshells. Walking on eggshells is the worst thing in the world because it reinforces the negative behavior of the person who you're walking around on eggshells. They're not getting realistic feedback. They're not getting realistic messages from the world. So bring it down to the bagels, lox, and cream cheese. We're schmoozing, we're talking, and we're giving each other support and wisdom and also having a good time and joking and talking about sort of being Uncle Sal's for each other. You know, if you can't find somebody outside, well, you kind of work together to provide that kind of support because you need it. You got to admit that you need it. You got to break the stigma and reveal and open up your vulnerability to a friend. And that's what we do. And wish us luck. Wish us luck in finding an Uncle Sal and improving our relationship with our daughters.